Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your presence today. Traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. I pay my respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal people here today. I'd also like to acknowledge the Honorable Danny Pearson, Minister for Economic Growth and Jobs, and Minister for Finance, and the Honorable Harriet Shing, Minister for Suburban Rail Loop, Minister for Housing and Building, and Minister for Development Victoria and Precincts. Distinguished guest speakers and our online audience, welcome to the Nikkei Forum Melbourne 2025. It is an honor to have Ambassador of Japan, Mr. Kazuhiro Suzuki, and DFAT Secretary and former Australia's Ambassador to Japan, Ms. Jan Adams, AOPSM, with us today. A special thanks to Invest Victoria and CEO Danny Jarrett for their exceptional support. Thanks to your sponsorship, we are all able to gather in this magnificent venue. We are grateful to Mr. Michiaki Hirose-san, Chairman of the JBCC and Senior Corporate Advisor of Tokyo Gas, and Mr. Peter Gray, President of the AJBCC and Australia's Ambassador to Japan, for their continued support. We sincerely hope that the discussions here will lay a strong foundation for the success of the annual Joint Business Conference in Perth this October. My name is Kaori Takahashi, Senior Producer at Nikkei, and it is my pleasure to guide you through today's forum as your host. Following the positive reception of last year's inaugural Nikkei Forum Australia in Sydney, this year we have doubled the event scale and expanded our discussions to include defense, space, housing, startup innovation, and cultural exchanges, alongside our traditional focus on resources, energy, and decarbonization. This expansion is made possible by the support of our sponsors, Daiwa Capital Markets, Sumitomo Forestry, Ashurst, and our lead sponsor, Impex. To all the executives visiting from Japan, welcome to Melbourne. Congratulations on escaping the scorching heat. While Melbourne may be cooler than expected, Consul General Mr. Tokuro Furuya and his team has warmed our hearts with their gracious hospitality. As we approach the 50th anniversary of the Basic Treaty of Friendship and Cooperation between Japan and Australia, Nikkei aims to strengthen this evolving relationship through our media coverage and events. I'm pleased to announce that Prime Minister Ishiba's message on Japan-Australia relations will be shared during the final session, Editor's Insight. Please stay with us until the end to hear these important insights. To make the most of our numerous wonderful speakers, we have scheduled the program with few breaks, so please feel free to take a break whenever you need one throughout the day. With that, I am pleased to officially open the Nikkei Forum Melbourne 2025. May you find the discussions enriching and networking opportunities fruitful. Please allow me to introduce Mr. Daisuke Arakawa, Senior Managing Director of Nikkei.
Thank you, Kaori-san. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending the Nikkei Forum Melbourne today. The relationship between Australia and Japan has become closer than ever before, and its importance continues to grow. In an increasingly uncertain global environment, it is essential for two countries that share the values of democracy and the free trade to strengthen their cooperation, not only in politics and economics, but also in building a richer and more fulfilling society and culture. Although we are located in the northern and southern hemispheres, the minimal time difference between our countries has become a significant advantage, especially now that the online meetings have become commonplace. Today, we also have panelists joining us online from Japan. I hope that today's forum will be meaningful for all of you and will contribute to further strengthening the relationship between Australia and Japan. Thank you very much. Enjoy.
Thank you, Mr. Arakawa. We are now honored to welcome His Excellency Mr. Kazuhiro Suzuki, Ambassador of Japan to Australia, to deliver the opening remarks. Please join me in welcoming Ambassador Suzuki to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. But before I begin, I wish to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet this morning and pay my respect to their elders, past, present, and emerging. And I also would like to acknowledge the distinguished ministers, senior officials, and business leaders here today, and thank in particular Mr. Arakawa and Ms. Takahashi and the Team Nikkei for hosting this timely forum. Ladies and gentlemen, just last week, on 15th August, I attended the memorial service on Thursday Island in Torres Strait, Zenadesques, once home to many Japanese pearl divers. The ties between Japan and Australia began in the late 19th century with the pearl and wool industry, and since then, massively expanded into resources sector. Huge and complex projects like Northwest Shelf gas field could never have happened without Japanese and Australian business leaders working side by side. So this morning, I first want to pay tribute to those pioneers who built the trust we enjoy today. That trust is reflected in the Lowy Institute poll, which for 5 consecutive years has ranked Japan as the Australia's most trusted partners. Last year alone, Japan and Australian forces held 39 joint defense exercises, about 1 every 9 days somewhere in the world. In all but treaty language, we are allies. Our economic relationship now extends far beyond resources. Japan is Australia's second largest investor after the United States now, and the only country whose foreign direct investment here has grown every year for the last 11 years. Against this backdrop, one of the most consequential recent decisions came on 4th August. Australia will procure 11 general-purpose frigates from Mitsubishi Heavy Industry, MHI, with the first 3 built in Japan and the rest in Western Australia. This will open major opportunities for collaboration in the manufacturing sector, as the Mogami-class frigate is the best of the best, built not just by MHI, but also with advanced technology from 11 other Japanese companies. The synergies and spillover effect in defense and beyond will be significant, given the scale and depth of our economic partnership. Critical minerals are another shared priority. JOGMEC, Japan Organization for Metals and Energy Security, and Sojitsu recently decided to advance their plans to produce gallium, a material widely used for solar power panels, LEDs, and semiconductors in Western Australia. This project, which extracts gallium from a byproduct of the bauxite refining process, expands Australia's capability in the global supply chain. It aligns with the concept of the future made in Australia, which is essential in our transition towards a net zero society. I believe our two governments' support can enhance the business viability of critical minerals project, support both financially and through expedited approval process. By doing so, we can send a strong message to the world to secure our economic securities. Australia is one of the few developed nations whose population is set to grow about 50% over the next 40 years. Japanese companies are responding, investing in food, distribution, real estate, and housing. Just recently, I attended the opening of the Suntory's Swanbank facility in Queensland, producing 90,000 beverage cans every hour. 90,000, do you know, it's 25 cans every second, powered by 14 kilometers of solar panels and a biomass boiler, and achieving net zero emissions. In housing, 4 of Australia's top 10 companies have Japanese links. Our technology in prefabrication and high-density housing, as well as sustainable and resilient method, can greatly help Australian cities. So our embassy is hosting seminars across major cities to connect both countries' public and private sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, this October, Australia-Japan Economic Conference in Perth will be a perfect opportunity to build on progress in these areas and beyond. And next year, we mark 50 years since the signing of the Basic Treaty of Friendship and Cooperation, opening a new chapter in our partnership. Nikkei, with its exceptional ability to read the times, has chosen the perfect moment in our diplomatic calendar for this forum. I hope today's discussions will be as forward-looking and ambitious as our evolving economic relationship. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Suzuki. We are now honored to welcome Ms. Jan Adams, Secretary of the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, to deliver the opening remarks. Ms. Adams, it is our privilege to invite you to the stage.
Ohayo gozaimasu. Good morning, everybody. I too begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands on which we meet and pay respects to elders past, present and emerging. I would like to acknowledge His Excellency Ambassador Suzuki and your hardworking Consul General Furia and staff. Thank you for all of the work that you've done in the bilateral relationship over the last year since we met at the first Nikkei Forum in Sydney. Let me please also acknowledge Victorian ministers here in the front row, Minister Pearson and Minister Shing. We look forward to hearing from you very shortly. I also want to acknowledge the business leaders, the custodians of the business relationship who are here. Peter Gray, always good to see you. Always say my former boss, one of my former bosses, and Hirose-san, nice to see you again. Welcome to Melbourne. I think I've been reflecting on what's happened in the year since we met in Sydney last year at the inaugural Nikkei Forum, and of course it's overwhelming, the number of things that have happened. 3 consequential elections, US presidential election, Australian federal election and Japan's upper house election as well. But rather than talk about the consequences of those events, I want to start by referencing one very positive recent development, as already referenced by Ambassador Suzuki, and that's the Australian government's decision to select the Mogami-class frigate for the Royal Australian Navy's future fleet of general-purpose frigates. This really is a significant investment in enhancing our strategic partnership. Not only will the decision enhance the interoperability of our defence forces and our collective contribution to regional security, it will also open up new opportunities for defence industry and tech collaboration. That aspect of it, of course, has been a recent focus of the AJBCC and the counterpart. So it's really, really positive to see that work coming to fruition. The business ties, of course, have been central to this vital partnership and continues to have a positive story to tell. Over the course of 2024, the total sum of Japanese investment in Australia rose to an all-time high, to more than 283 billion Australian dollars. Energy and resources trade, of course, remains fundamental to our shared interests and energy security. But we are seeing more and more opportunities opening up in critical minerals, production and critically processing, green metals and renewable energy, supported by incentives on both sides from the governments. Now, I think the breadth of today's agenda shows that the commercial ties are diversifying and expanding as our economies continue to integrate against the backdrop of global uncertainty. Japan was the second largest property investor in Australia last year. As close partners, we invest in each other's reforms, whether that be food security, defence, cyber, or corporate governance. Australia knows that if Japan succeeds, Australia benefits, and that requires collaboration with industry and universities, spreading opportunities across various sectors. Osaka World Expo has been one of the most powerful platforms to promote our growing economic and people-to-people ties. I was pleased to visit as secretary back in April. It wasn't so hot, it was quite cold actually, but we've hit the 2 million visitor mark this month. So I'm really proud of our team to have generated that result. The tourism numbers, of course, are growing in both directions. They're actually extremely high. 1 million Australians visited Japan last year. You can see them actually in Tokyo. They're everywhere. It's amazing. More than 360,000 Japanese tourists visited Australia, and I think really interesting for me, 12,000 students studied in Australia, so I'm really pleased to see those numbers coming back up. I think the remarkable growth and trust that drives the Australia-Japan relationship matters all the more given the uncertainties we're facing in the global environment. As the liberal world order and its institutions are weakening, partnerships like ours will increasingly be vital anchors for stability and resilience. We know that the United States, under President Trump's administration, are changing the way that they operate in many areas, in particularly trade, and how partnerships are being affected by that. I think the point I want to make is for Australia and Japan, the commitments that we've made to each other, particularly in our trade agreements, but also in our near alliance-like defence arrangements, are absolutely ironclad commitments that we have no intention of altering except to continuously improve. I have the sign to finish, so I'll skip to the end and say I just want to reiterate 3 things that I mentioned last year. One is thank you to Nikkei Shimbun for having correspondent in Sydney. Arakawa-san, it's really, really important to us that you have the presence here. So thank you for your leadership in that. I said last year Nikkei Asia is my favourite proper journalist source for... So I say that again, also Financial Times, but especially Nikkei Asia because Asia is just so important. I read it every day and I learn a great deal. So thank you. Second, thank you to all the Japanese investors who are here today. We value your investment. and, as has been said, consider Japan a most trusted partner. Third, finally, I said last year, I'll say it again, special strategic partnership, Australia-Japan, ever more special, ever more strategic, and an ever more vital partnership. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Secretary Jan Adamus. My name is Rurika Imahashi, and I am the Sydney Bureau Chief for Nikkei.